call the meeting to order. Phyllis, if we could have a roll call.
Craig Koshaw.
Here.
Bill Carbaugh.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. You're emailed a copy of our December 18th minutes. If I could have a motion to approve or amend them, I'd appreciate that.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes from December 18th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Lenny texted me and said he's going to be a little late, so we'll pass on the, what do you got there, Phyllis?
I did post to notify the media that this meeting was scheduled.
Okay. Going to make that a matter of record? We need to make a matter of record that Phyllis had posted that our meeting was changed from last night to tonight.
Still moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Phyllis. With Lenny not here yet, let's jump right down to... Yeah, sure. Certificate of appointments.
We have an oath of office for Jared Fawcett for the police reserve. He was sworn in. And we need to make that a matter of record.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And then we have a certificate of appointment for Nathan Hunter that was also sworn in as a patrolman for the police department. And I need you all to sign that. So there's 2 copies here if you want to sign that. We'll need to make that a matter of record.
Motion to make that a matter of record. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
And then one more thing is the conditional employment contract for Nathan Hunter for the police department. We'll need to make that a matter of record. He did sign that and agreed to it, so.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll pass this down for everyone to sign. Phyllis, this is the only one that they all need to sign?
Mm-hmm.
2 copies, Craig. Okay, that's out of the way.
Press hard, 2 copies.
Yeah. Jeremy, you have something for us to sign and approve, or does Phyllis have that as far as the NDOT? Okay.
That's a local road and...
Yep. Local road and bridges matching grant.
Yep, I reviewed it. Jeremy sent it to me and asked me to take a look at it. Basically it's pretty straightforward. Just want to make sure that attachment A includes all of the streets that were what we are planning on paving, and that's consistent with our grant application. I think the contract says that we have to basically award bids to contractors by April 15th, and then you get a 2-year window in which to get the projects completed. It's pretty typical as far as the grant being subject to filing of reports and an audit. We're required to comply with federal and state laws, including drug-free workplace and verification. So it's pretty straightforward.
Right now, we're looking to open bids on the first Tuesday in February. That is sufficient with you guys.
Sounds good to me.
The first Tuesday which is, I believe, the 5th.
In February.
February the 5th.
That is the 5th.
Do we need a motion?
No, not yet.
It has to be signed in blue, so I brought a blue pen.
Thank you.
That's NDOT's requirement.
Good old NDOT.
Wow. No black, sir.
There's a copy for
Blue.
the NDOT and a copy for the city. So there's actual 2 because there's 2 applications. And this agreement is actually called Local Roads and Bridges Matching Grant Agreement. So.
And we're signing 1 copy for NDOT, 1 copy for city, another copy for NDOT. Okay,
Yeah,
4
there's
total.
2 applications.
There's 2 apps.
Yeah.
Now,
So
is it
you'll
just
need
me?
to sign. Yes, it is.
No, just me,
Actually, I'm
okay.
sorry. I guess it is just Jill. So yes, sign. Print. Title and date.
So there's a motion
yeah.
to approve that
Yeah, do we need a motion to,
and authorize Ken to sign on behalf of the board.
I like that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Phyllis, let's just set these aside and we'll come back to them here. I'll sign them in
We can
between.
do them within, so
Yep.
once I get them to him within 30 days.
Yep. Phyllis, you have a quote or some quotes for the second floor carpet.
Second floor carpet.
That means that's a good thing. That means we're getting down there.
Myers quoted $15,857.30, and Miller's quoted $17,987.50.
Myers was 15,857.
30, and Miller's was $17,987.50.
So Myers is the lowest on the carpet. And then you also had quotes on the bathrooms or something else.
We had tiles, but that's less than what Board of Works.
So we don't even need to approve that. And but just for the heck of it, while Myers would get this one, I think you told me Miller was cheaper on the other, so they're both getting a little bit of the work here. So would someone want to make a motion to approve Myers floor covering $15,857.30?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second for approval to use Myers floor covering. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And when did they think they would be able to come, Phyllis?
I would say in a couple weeks.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And it's the same floor as we have in here.
But I think we have to wait until they've got a lot more to go before they put the... I think the tile will go down in a couple weeks. I think she said the 14th. They were thinking, no, it's 18.
Oh.
We have a 19 out here. I think Miller said they'd be here on the 19th.
These, is this 18, the blue one?
14th.
Yes. Green is the new one.
Let's pull this down, Bill, because this makes
We
us...
still have some painting and...
Pull that down too.
more
Yeah,
stuff and
that
things
side.
before we put the carpet down.
What was the Myers?
Well,
Wow.
No, Myers was 15,857.
I know we're not supposed to have weaponry here at the council. We're working. I got a knife in my pocket. Peel that back.
Did you get it?
That's as long, it's not a weapon of mass destruction.
Lot of numbers.
Now look at Phyllis, she's whipping hers right off her. Look at these sissies over here, they can't get theirs.
I got it, Bill.
You sissies.
Yeah, you know, Phyllis, she's tougher.
Well, I know that.
There you go, Tim. You're getting it.
You need a knife?
Nope.
You got it now.
Okay, here you go. Thanks to Mind's Eye Graphic for our calendars.
Yes. It's a expected annual thing. Code enforcement updates.
Hey.
Kurt, Don? Let's start out with Rugg Street, and I know Don, I think, has some pictures, but in all honesty, I went by Rugg Street today, and I'm ready to go ahead and have the guys go in there because I saw nothing any different. There's still a blue barrel out behind the shed, and
Tires are still there.
tires, yeah, here's some pictures printed off. Pallet,
Got 'em on the video.
pallet in the front yard.
They got deep freezes now.
Yeah, the deep freeze is a new thing.
Well, I don't know if you've got a deer carcass in there or rent center coming.
I did, in the last 2 weeks, talk to Tia Petrowski and her mother. I can't remember her name.
I mean, they've cleaned it up somewhat, but I mean,
Yep.
it's still got pallets sitting there, I've got tires sitting over here. You really can't do nothing about the lawn
Stop it, Don.
monster.
Is that a pallet?
Looks like a pallet. Well, actually, it looks like a pallet bench. Looks like you made a bench out of pallets, which I don't know if you can do anything about that. You can't do anything about his umbrella thing there. You can the tires. The deep freeze is an issue. Like Don said, newer kids crawling now, lost themselves in.
But I'm for Jeremy's guys, just going in there.
Cleaned up somewhat, but back here in the corner, I mean, he's got old tires back here and trash bags and...
It won't take Jeremy's guys probably 10 minutes to pick all that stuff up. The cost will be in the disposal, I suppose, a little bit, but
Well, I would recommend that we,
store it a few days first.
over there, that garage on where they park the golf cart, they cleaned all that out if we want to avoid any problems. I don't...
You all right with that, Jeremy?
That's up to Tim, but...
You want to go ahead? I'll call them first thing in the morning, leave them both messages because they probably won't answer, and tell them that we'll be in there yet this week and get it all cleaned up, and that if they want to claim it, to give me a call, and we'll...
Put a time limit on that claim, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that was slick.
Okay.
You agree?
Yep. How about Gamble? Yeah, I'll take those. Here we are going down 10th Street. You can kind of pause. That's the first lot that's got trailer back there still, a couple trailers,
You got some asphalt.
some
back here,
asphalt. Yeah, it looks like a mattress or something laying back there,
Tractor.
another wagon. And then all kinds of stuff, just that bicycle's been there for 2 years now. Is any of that stuff right there a problem?
Back up a little bit, Donnie. I got an open tire back here, which
Yeah.
the health department would get all over it. Open tire without a rim collects water, which collects mosquitoes.
Go ahead, Don.
Gamble owns that truck. He owns this minivan. Freeze, Donnie.
That's good.
That truck right there is a customer. He owns these 3 vehicles here. There are 2 cars here under freeze, Donnie. There's 2 cars up here, the one you can barely see in the middle, that are under tarps. He owns those, and he's trying to find a place to store them. The car in the back with the tarp, he just put a transmission and a motor in. He's waiting on rear end parts. Once he gets the rear end parts, that car is out of there. I talked to him. He came in and seen me today. I talked to him about the skid loader, the tractor, some of the other stuff in there. His biggest problem right now is on the back lot. He can't get back in there with anything to haul anything out because it's basically a swamp.
What about all these?
This truck's his.
That's
This is his dad's truck.
yeah, and he's probably visiting.
Yeah, he's always over there, in and out constantly during the day. He claims that none of the vehicles to the east side of the street are his. So,
And today I went down the street, there weren't any on the east side of the street, so.
he's cleaned up some, not as much as what we'd like him to, but he does have an issue with getting back in that back lot where there's the box trailer and the asphalt. He can't get back in there with anything big enough to haul that stuff out of there. Otherwise, he's going to get stuck and make it look worse than what it is.
Pile of asphalt's at least my worries right now.
And of course, then we got the neighbor that's got the SUV on blocks, or jack stands. I don't know, I
With the Cadillac
talked
sitting right
to him
there.
today. I told him, look, his biggest problem was all this
And there's his other lot right there.
other stuff being out there. I said it just looks bad, and that's what's getting him in trouble. He did mention the fact that he would like to put up another building so he could put a lot of this stuff out of sight, out of mind. We did give him a BZA application to file, putting up a secondary structure, not having primary.
And somebody's living in that house
Yeah.
that he owns. So
Now,
Mark's...
this property here is nowhere in our order.
Yep.
And as I talked to you earlier today, it's just the one property.
Yeah, and Kurt pointed out to me today that him and Don went through the agreed order that we have with him, and that the only thing that we really can push him on is the lot where he's doing business.
Mhm. That's what the BZA has to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other lots,
The other, but you know, he, and when he came in and talked to Don today, he is believing that it's everything. and Kurt didn't tell him otherwise.
otherwise.
Well, I think, my guess is Pat Hess, who's representing him, and Josh Heck, are probably telling him, look, clean your act up, because if you don't, the city's going to come down on you. So I think maybe that's an indication he's finally gotten the message.
Well, but now today he was in.
Yeah, he came in this morning.
I got a feeling he probably got that call from Pat Hess.
That's what I'm saying.
And that prompted him to come in, and now he's, you know, with a couple days before his date where we can shut him down, he's coming in and asking for a permit to go before the BZA and build another building to put everything in.
Basically, he wants to get another building so he can put his tractors, his skid loaders, potentially his 2 cars he's got under tarps there.
Where does he want the building?
Well,
He
you're
wants to
going
put it
to,
on the other lot.
2
Down
doors
the
Out
in.
of the house.
Huh? On the other side?
Yeah,
yeah, and we've granted that for other people elsewhere.
right.
We did it for Kevin.
And the biggest, it's like I told him, I said, look, your biggest thing here is you got all this stuff visible. The neighbors don't want to look at it, and they have a right to not have to look at it. I said, no, if you want to put all that stuff in a building and hide it, great. I don't care what it looks like on the inside. It's the outside that's getting me.
So the way I see it, our conundrum is, what do we do? He's not going to have it cleaned up by Friday.
Well, then yeah. The other thing with
Saturday, I
the
should
building,
say.
the other thing with putting the other building up is, he didn't say anything, but I started thinking about it. The one car he's got in the back there, he did put a new transmission and a new motor in it, but he's waiting on rear end parts. Okay, so how does he move that off the lot at the end of business hours? If he's got another building, he can store that in that building. For the cars that are not mobile, that he's still working on.
Are we looking at this wrong, though? Because if only that lot's under the agreement, the other lots you have to clean up sooner.
No, because now we got to go start over with each individual lot.
See, and I just don't know about that, because
Wouldn't they apply to anybody else in town? Just like we're doing on roads?
Yeah, but for the hearing order, for what we're telling him he's got to do, it's just this lot. So if we want to target the other 2 lots, now we got to take them on individually and start from scratch again.
Yeah.
Because I can sit here and send him love letters all day long, and he's just going to keep blowing it off until we drag him in here and have another hearing.
Yeah, that's for sure. I just didn't know whether we got more leverage without the agreement.
Well, he doesn't know that, though.
Well, he's agreed to clean that one lot up and take the asphalt off and everything.
Moved most of it down.
he's agreed to, but how long ago did he agree to? And he hasn't done it yet. And
Well, no, he's
he's got
cleaned
3
that-
days left.
He's cleaned that one lot up quite a bit. There was a number of vehicles on that lot, and including junk vehicles, so.
Yeah, he just got asphalt and some stuff in the back. And
2 or 3 trailers, and a
if you look, there's
mattress,
stuff in
and...
that fence row back there all the way along. If you look close.
You know, in the past, we've given people, you know, if they're making an effort to get things cleaned up, we've been willing to give them a little bit more time to do it, so it's a
How much
question
more
of-
time do we give him?
Well, that's...
Boy cries wolf,
That's
how
your
many times a guy get to cry wolf?
I did tell him today there won't be any more love letters coming, that I would personally be coming down on a weekly basis, taking pictures, actually going up and talking to him.
I mean, I'm of the mind that maybe you give him a call tomorrow or stop down and see him and say, hey, you know, if you want to go before the BZA and fill out that paperwork, that's good and fine. But Monday morning, if this isn't cleaned up, we're going to shut you down. I mean, he can clean that up.
Well,
He's got trailers. He can put the vehicle on trailers and take them somewhere. What's your opinion, Craig?
I agree.
I mean, do you want to give him more time again?
I don't want him to go out here and tear up that asphalt. We'll give him until the ground freezes and let him get that mess cleaned up. But without rutting up the whole yard and making it another mosquito pond.
because this is what I'm afraid of. And I'm surprised that his lawyers didn't pick that apart, being that was the only address called out. How long before they find out, and then next thing you know, all that is down in this other lot, and we're starting over from square one on a different property with a different lot number. I mean, the whole thing is to clear, not that lot, but the one he's doing business, and I could see him doing that.
What's that inside that bush back there?
I have no idea.
There's a truck.
In the over here to the right. Over here this way, Phyllis, is what I'm talking about, to the right. That looks like a bed frame or something or other in a bush.
No, it's too big for a bed frame.
And there a truck too in the back there? It looked like a little red truck.
A tractor, I think it is.
Is that on his property or is that?
Oh, yeah.
His property.
No,
Oh, maybe it's a tire. And
Oh,
behind that over
there?
there,
I
yeah.
don't know what that is.
Truck, believe it or not, is a vehicle that doesn't need plates. It doesn't need any plates.
Really? Huh.
The truck?
That little truck is like
Was that one of them Japanese trucks or
yeah,
something like that?
yeah, like a Cushman scooter type truck.
Wow.
Because I said something to him about getting plates on that truck, and he said he can't get plates on the truck.
Did you ask him to move it?
Well, that used to be down at the other end.
Trailer with a truck bed on it.
Yeah, that little truck was down there on his dad's property before I&M bought his dad out. And the guy with
What do you think's the best angle, Kurt?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Because I can go down there tomorrow and tell him, look, you gotta have all this out of here by Monday. Then I can see him turning around and moving it down to his lot.
I would just be real vague on what you tell him. I would just tell him, you know, you came in, you got that application, and that's all good and fine, and you can do that. But we gave you 30 days, then we gave you 15 more. Monday, our Fort Wayne attorney's prepared to, what's the word I'm trying to use, get a revocation notice
He'll
from the court?
he'll take appropriate action to enforce the agreed judgment.
Tim, what's your opinion? You seem a little like you're not really in favor of
I
that.
think, I think back when we were dealing with the gentleman down here at the corner of 2nd and Jackson, how many times, that was 2 or 3 years, and we tried to keep giving him time to do it, probably knowing full well that he and his son didn't have the means to fix that property up. It was only when Greg Harmon bought it, Barb, that they got it.
Did he say anything to you about moving?
No, he didn't.
So he's not going anywhere.
Well, he's been back and forth between his place in Kentucky and here for the last 2 weeks. He's spending quite a bit of time down. Actually, got into some hot water about an excavator.
Yeah.
He might not be around long
Somebody
time.
else.
So they love him down there too, is what you're saying, or what?
No,
No,
they
it's a-
took an excavator.
There was
Stolen property.
there was stolen property, and
Yeah.
apparently he was,
And he didn't know anything about it.
He knew where it was, though.
He knew where it was, yeah. As soon
Ooh.
as they started talking about it, missing and everything.
Is this the one from out of,
out at the golf course.
I'd rather just
Yeah,
not do it.
yeah. So anyway, we can do this. Look, I can go down and talk to him.
I just share with him that we're firm. We don't expect the asphalt to be cleaned up, but everything else amongst the green order. We're expecting him to get that done by Monday, or we're going to continue with the process. Just play it cool. Let him know that we're in.
And tell him that we appreciate what he has done, but he needs to finish the job.
All right, I can do it.
And Bob Aaronman's email said, Pat has said he'd reach out to Mr. Gamble, but I haven't heard anything. If the situation is not remediated by Saturday, then on Monday we can file a motion to enforce the agreed order with the court. If you want me to start preparing the petition ahead of time, please let me know of the specific restrictions in the agreed order he is violating. Also, I believe that Kurt could schedule a revocation hearing on the BZA's next agenda, and Kurt and I could present the case to BZA as to why Mr. Gamble's special exception should be revoked. So while we're revoking one, we're going to issue him another.
I just let him know that we're mean business. We're not worried about until the ground freezes, get the asphalt and the junk out of there. But let him know that the vehicle's going to be moved.
And I'd tell him that,
I'd say
all along the city's tried to work with him. We haven't tried to put him out of business, but if he's going to keep screwing around and not follow the agreed judgment, that's what could happen.
And don't tell him what he needs to do. If he says, what do I need to do? Say, you've got the paperwork. It's in your hands. I'm not to tell you what to do.
Don't tell him. that
Well,
you're
just tell
freezing
him,
over either.
consult with your attorney.
Tell him when it dries up. Because hell, it may not freeze enough that he can get his equipment in there.
Yeah.
Just tell him when it dries up, get the asphalt out of there.
I can do that. I'll go down in the morning.
You guys okay with that?
I am.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. That's Gamble. Cottonwood, just to let you all know, so I'll probably report this at the council meeting as well. I text Nick Koss this morning, asking if he had any idea, what's going on, when he's going to close all that. He said the final element to close the deal on my part is to wrap up the cleanup. I've been told that the buyer's financing is done. That'd be Josh Heck. I expect to close within a week or two. At that point, the utility bill with the city will be paid, or I can't close. That's part of the stipulation in their purchase agreement. The closing company will request the bill to be paid. My son's birthday is today. I'll be flying back to Indiana tomorrow morning to finalize cleanup. So, sounds like we're coming down the home stretch, hopefully on the Nick Koss situation.
Did they take down that one building?
No.
Or is it still there?
That block building is
Yeah,
still
is that
there.
going to stay?
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's on our little parcel. He wants to keep.
yeah, that he wants to keep.
Right.
I was surprised that it took down the two trailers.
Well,
on
they
that
said,
parcel.
Josh said that all the trailers were to be taken out.
Right.
So,
He may want to keep that area clean too. That area's a little shaky, the one he wants to keep. Yeah. That area,
There wasn't a good spot in that thing.
no. And I think he has in mind that he's going to leave that deteriorate right in there, because there's about 3 trailers in that area.
hey, Jeremy, do you know, what about I&M and NIPSCO? Are they owed anything?
I don't know. My assumption, they're not going to tell you if you're not the owner, but my assumption, if you're going to still, he does still owe a bill.
They may want to contact Adam Miller and make sure that Adam is aware that there's an outstanding bill and that needs to be taken care of
They
at the
won't
closing.
retire that main until that bill's paid for. If
Yeah.
it's an outstanding bill.
I have figured
I
that.
think that's what's taken them so long to
Right.
get down here to do that, other than it's a little bit more complicated than a little
Right.
half-inch line running up to a house.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got a little money in escrow, and I'm just kind of sitting on that for now. And if we need to apply that towards bills, under the agreement that we have with costs, we could. I just don't know how much is owed. I would rather it get paid out of the closing proceeds, and then I'll just release what's left in escrow back to costs.
Now with AEP, they just come out as a favor to the city. and disconnected due to the demolition work.
Right.
And then I think they were working that out with costs.
I'll
As
check
you
with
know,
Adam.
yeah, I would definitely make sure that our bill, NIPSCO, and AEP are all taken care of out of the sale proceeds.
Because basically the electric was going through the meter to the individual trailers, so the ones living in there would carry the bill on those anyway. And then they would basically have the rent for the street lights that were in that trailer park that he owned.
Getting there.
Well, I mean, if it's a matter of getting that paid and then him going after his former tenants, that's up to him.
Correct.
If he doesn't want to do that, then he eats it.
Okay, we all clear on everything? Those are the three I wanted to talk about. Lenny, school resource officer contract for 2019. I guess Phyllis has it, but, and do you have originals that, or something
I
wrong?
have two originals.
Okay, so then after
So,
I sign it, we'll
and then the
mail it back.
appendix A has what they're reimbursing us the first half and the second half.
Perfect. Okay, well, this is the school resource officer with, contract with North Adams, which is much better than what we had for several years, before, when they were paying us $37,000, I believe, roughly, and now they're going to be paying us,
Total of,
$50,000, $51,000.
yeah.
Yeah, so, much better. Which actually pays, I think, what, 70% or something like that of Trent Bussey's salary, so, yeah. Yep. So, we just need to make this a matter of record, Phyllis, or what do you,
I
or
just authorize you to sign the contract.
So moved. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And this contract will be renewed each year.
Correct.
They'll pay us on 2 installments, one in, is it December, I think, and one in,
June and December?
June and December, yeah. So, I think it's good. All right, I will sign it. There's one.
I'll get you copies.
Thank you.
That's all that, Lenny.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing I had on the Board of Works agenda, just for discussion, and Jeremy, you want to come up again, is the city purchasing agreement, which I think he emailed that to me and you both, I think. And where I got the tabs, pass those down. One for you. Okay. Pass, they'll have to share. Well, we're good to go. Who's missing?
Okay.
I might have another one here. I do have another one here. Pass it on down. So, Jeremy pointed it out that, was that a road school thing that you were at or something, that they talked in depth about how the state has changed the state requirements. It's no longer necessary by state statute that we would have to get sealed bids on anything over 50,000. That actually now could be, help me out, Tim, turn the page down there.
Yeah, I think it's either 150,000.
Yeah, anything over 150,000
That's where you
Well-
invite 3 quotes.
It's just a penny under, right? 50 to 149.99.
Right.
Well, they're talking about.
Anything over 150,
His purchases are,
Go to those
and
tabs.
over are governed by Indiana law.
Yeah.
Right.
Board of
But
Public
that thing,
Works,
basically
city
saying that
may
small
within
projects
any road.
of less than 50,000, that, those are just, Public Works can get estimates and do it. Anything between 50 and 150, we'd have to get quotes, but not bids, just quotes. And then anything over 150, we'd need to take sealed bids on. And as Jeremy was explaining to me, just like on this wall that we're discussing doing, it's doing the sealed bids, he says, probably gonna add, what'd you say, 20%? Possibly?
Well, you're gonna have your minimum 10% bid bond plus, you get different contractors that say they will add 20, some will add 30, 35, to cover all their bases, which drives your project up tremendously. But what I'm pointing out, and I'm not lobbying for a certain thing or for anybody, but back in 2008, 2009, when the purchasing agreement was adopted by City Council at the time, it did follow the state guidelines. The state guidelines have changed immensely in the last 2 or 3 years as more infrastructure money has been released from the state. They actually have made it a little easier and a little cut out a lot of the red tape on a lot of the purchasing. The email that you are looking at, or the printout that you're looking at, is coming directly from the State Board of Accounts. It does reflect the IC code and
This
gives
does
you-
right here, Jeremy? This?
Yep. Well, no, that is your actual purchasing.
Right, but what are you talking about then? The document that,
Yeah.
that 24-page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Tim's the only one that has a copy of that.
Okay. But basically, what we're running into, guys, in short, is we're getting a lot of these small projects, whether it be the wall, or whether we get sidewalk projects, or we get little streetscape projects that is starting out at that 50,000 mark, or falling right into that, to where it's getting very difficult, to get a lot of the contractors, especially a lot of the small local contractors, to do a lot of this, because they're not going to go out and get the bid bond for something like that. Last March at Purdue Road School, we had a really in-depth, really good conversation with the State Board of Accounts, with NDOT, because NDOT makes sure that we stay on top of all these requirements. I've spent a lot of time in the last 10 years kind of watching some of these, and it stayed pretty stagnant until the last few years, till they really started making it easier to get a lot of these projects completed. I just ask that we at least take a look at it, see if we feel that it needs to be adjusted. Since 2008, the only time that we've adjusted it was on the bottom. We took it from 1,000 to 2,500 because it's getting almost impossible to do anything for $1,000. We were coming in front of this board more than
We did that in 2013.
than what we should have, just for general purchases. And you can read into this 24-page document for days, and, no offense, Tim, I'm sure you will at some point. But there's a lot of different procurement verbiage in here. There's different verbiage that deals with strictly utilities, what utilities can and can't do. I really think it's time that we take a good hard look at this. One, to protect ourselves, in case we do get an angry contractor or something coming back questioning our ordinance. And also, we need to be good stewards of our tax dollars and our user fees. If we can manage the money a little bit better and get some of these smaller projects accomplished, either in-house or with some local contractors, it helps to keep everybody happy, and we're still getting the best use out of our money.
What I'll add is, if you look at Exhibit A, the first three items up to $49,999, those are pretty minimal requirements, and those we can do without any problem because we have a lot of flexibility under state law. Once you get above 50,000, you can still use the quote process, but it's somewhat similar to the bid process in that you have to advertise it. You have to invite at least 3 persons to bid on it that do that type of work, and you have to give them notice of plans and specifications. You have to open those quotes at a public meeting, and you have to award it to the lowest responsive and responsive bidder. And then when you're looking, once you get above 150,000, then it's the standard bidding process. You don't have any choice. So you've got some flexibility between 50 and 150 that we're not taking advantage of.
Right.
Okay. So, if you want to use the quote process, you still have to develop plans and specifications. You still have to invite quotes from at least 3 persons who do that type of work. You have to mail that out at least 7 days before receiving quotes. So there are still some requirements that you have to follow, but and it doesn't say, I don't think you're required to require bid bonds or anything like that. The bid bond apparently now only applies to projects that exceed 150,000.
150, correct.
Okay.
Jeremy did share with me today that at that meeting, he said there were a lot of street department commissioners there, department heads, and he's anticipating that other city councils and board of works are going to have this same conversation. So, I'm not, we're not ready to do anything right now, but I would like to, maybe as I have my mayors roundtables, survey some of the other mayors, see what they're planning on doing, and then...
I have a question for you, Jeremy. Sorry to interrupt you, Ken.
Go ahead.
This is a PowerPoint presentation that you received from the road school at Purdue? I believe I saw that. It's the same 24 pages, right? I've reviewed that.
Yep.
My suggestion would be to go to the maximum amount that we can under Exhibit A with the state purchasing agreement, and I would move on it. Because we're going to run into things down the road. If we kick this can down the road, as a taxpayer, my personal self, and all of us around this table, I think it's the best value. After reading this and going over it and running through my mind, I think it's the best opportunity for us to save citizens of the city of Decatur in the long run for the bid process that we're wanting to do. It also is don't get me wrong, I'm taking off my chamber hat right now, but it also gives the opportunity for local contractors, which they're the ones that are paying taxes in our city. I think this $150,000 needs to be moved on swiftly.
Yeah.
Up to the state.
Yeah, I think
purchasing requirements for the state. I
agree.
Don't think we need to do anything that's beyond that, but I say at this time we really need to step forward and make this an ordinance for our city.
If you look at Exhibit A, I think what you're saying, Craig, is for projects of 50 to up to 150, instead of requiring sealed bids and performance bonds like our ordinance does currently,
Correct.
we go to
Board of
the
Works
quote process, and then anything over 150 would still require the sealed bids and
It would just
I
add
concur.
a fifth category.
It's just going to add it's going to add a 4th category, and this one moves down.
Yeah, right.
I agree with that, and the only reason I say that, guys, is because over the last 10 years, we haven't necessarily kept up with the cost of living increase. Am I out of line?
No, I think that's exactly why the
Pickups
changes
went
were
from
made.
20-something to 30,000 something. And they're all, it even says anything over 50 is Board of Works approval.
And
Not
just
like that would be anything negative, but it just gives a greater opportunity for us.
And just like Indiana Code 522-8-2, for purchases less than 50,000, the purchasing agent, which is you all, should follow policies established by you all. So you can set however you want to do this.
Right. Well, we've already done that.
On the lower end of it, and you would need to protect yourself.
I mean, that's basically what you've done in the first three columns.
Correct.
Do you think any of those need adjusted, Jeremy?
I would say let's look at it and kind of look. It's more, you're getting up on the higher end. For an example, I know Lenny goes out and buys 2 or 3 police cars at a time.
Yep.
He buys more than 2 police cars, they should be going out for sealed bid.
But I think he uses that state bid.
But if you use the state,
But if you use the state bid, but
You don't have to do
technically
that.
if you didn't use the state bid,
right,
you're buying more than 1 or 2 vehicles anymore, or a smaller piece of equipment,
you're above 50,000.
you're above the 50,000, which, you do get some suppliers of some of the smaller stuff that just won't bid on it. Because they're not taking the time to take the bid bond out.
So let's-
What are you
suggesting with that?
I'm just throwing that out as an example of the current, to follow the current ordinance, so.
You're not suggesting there needs to be a change there?
No, we just need to look at some of those and kind of adjust.
Do you think we need to make a change at this time to get it up to what the state law allows, up to 149,999.99?
I would probably throw together a proposal, or get with Tim and Phyllis and Ken and mock up what we currently have, and then run it back by you in a couple weeks and just...
Why wouldn't we just take what this Exhibit A is?
Why what?
Why wouldn't...
That is what we have, this is what we have right now.
No, I think this is what the state has right now.
No, this isn't all ours.
Oh,
Well, the only thing... This is ours. Yeah, the only thing that, I mean,
Wiley's saying just drop it
if you...
down to the bottom instead
That's what we
of...
already just, that's what we've been talking about. is
Yeah.
Adding a 5th layer, dropping this one down one,
And inserting
That's what I'm
the
saying. Why
between
wouldn't we
50 and
just do
150 and
that?
using the quote process.
That's what they're saying.
Okay. Do we need to put the verbiage in there about like NJPA, like how we bought the street sweeper and some of those under the state bid procedure? Does any verbiage need to be in there
You
referencing
could put something in there that in lieu of following the purchasing requirements of the city, if the state has bid out certain equipment and the city as a political subdivision has the right to purchase the equipment based on a bid accepted at the state level, that's an alternative way to, you could put language in there to that effect.
Okay, because it's in here someplace, and I don't remember where I saw it.
Yeah,
Emergencies and stuff, which I know that we have in that original ordinance.
Yeah, I think probably what we would do, Jeremy, is that language would probably be in the body of the ordinance. You just say that, these procedures would be followed, provided, however, if the state has a standard bid for certain equipment that's available to political subdivisions, we can dispense with these requirements and follow and accept a bid based on what's been accepted at the state level.
I concur.
Because at 52210-1, purchasing agent may make purchase under this chapter without soliciting bids, emergency conditions, savings to governmental body, data processing contract or leasing or license agreement, compatibility of equipment, accessories, and other parts, tools, no offer received under other purchasing methods, governmental discounts available, so
Yeah,
that
we
would...
just add that language in the body of the ordinance.
That's the exception.
And then a single source for supply, so...
Yeah. I mean,
This has changed so much, that's
Right.
why I
Yep.
felt it was important to...
So that
actually
gives you some added flexibility. It does.
It does.
You're going to bring things that are going to be, department heads are going to bring them before the Board of Works anyway.
Just question, you said adding a layer, where, are you just adjusting?
Okay, the one that's less than 2,000 will stay right where it's at.
Yeah.
25 to 999, that stays where it's at. 10 to 49,999, that stays where it's at. Then we insert a new one that goes from 50 to 149,999. And
Couldn't it just go from 10 to 149.99? I guess I think that's what you were asking. For the require, you're saying, I don't think you're actually removing the layer, not adding.
No, because what you're talking about here from 10 to 4, or up to 49,999, that's a less restrictive requirement than between 50 and 150. It's a more formal process.
the new
Sure.
state requirement for 50 to 150, board must invite 3 quotes.
Right.
So you're just changing the last line.
This
Yes.
last column right here is,
No, we're gonna
instead
add-
of, yeah, you would add another one. What this is going to say, between 50 and 149,999, it's going to say Board of Works approval,
3 bids.
use of 3 quotes pursuant to whatever that statute is.
Must be,
Okay?
quotes must be read in a public meeting.
Yeah, and then, it doesn't require a certificate of insurance. It just requires that, where is that? What you would require with the bid, that's not the right one either. And it has to be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible quoter. Okay? So, that's...
It is a new layer.
And those are sealed quotes, whereas the other quotes are just...
They're open, yeah, they're just, you can call somebody and get a quote.
To-
Correct.
or write
Yeah.
it.
And there's
The new-
different stipulations where you can do it over the phone, you can do it via fax, it does...
Yeah,
give you-
for anything under
it does give
50,000, you
you-
can do it a much simpler process. But between 50 and 150, it's a more formal, you're still using quotes, but it's kind of a step between just a loose quote and sealed bids.
I understand that, but the last line is 50 to 150 already.
Right.
Okay,
So
we're gonna insert-
we're going to change
we're gonna add
that to
another
say
one.
the 3 quotes, and then the next box is going to say anything over 150,000 you have to bid, because that's required by statute.
Which is really the last...
All the things that are in
third last line.
these 4 boxes, those will all move down into the anything over 150,000. And then the 50 to 150, these 4 boxes will change a little bit because it's not going to be by bid, it's going to be by
That
quote.
quote. Right.
We're going to eliminate the bonding, which is where your extra cost.
For anything under,
Up to 150,000, you can eliminate the
Local
bond.
jail,
Right.
I realized it wasn't our project, but no local painter wanted it, because they didn't want to go out and get the bonding. So
There's not a lot of them
outside
that,
came in to do it.
there's not a lot of local people that are bondable, just due to their size and their net worth.
And down here, where it says quotes may be
Right.
solicited by
That'll
department heads and need not be sealed, you'd probably have to add language for any project under 50,000.
Yep.
Okay?
Are we wanting to move that to 150?
You can't do 150. If it's more than 50, you have to do sealed quotes.
That is
quotes,
state
not
statute.
bids.
Just the quote.
Quotes.
Just like they're doing now
They're
about
voting and bidding.
2,500.
Okay. But they got to be sealed quotes, read aloud.
You have to
at a
open
public
them, you have to
meeting,
read it,
public
you have to
hearing.
review them.
But you don't have to do all
You
the
have to
bids on
determine
it.
Let me
the...
ask you another question.
Sure.
We can say to be taken by advisement by the department head?
Yeah.
I mean-
Just like the quotes would be reviewed, just like you do a bid.
Okay, up to 150,000, we can do that.
And then Jeremy,
makes the
or
determination, or whoever
he would
the
make a
department
recommendation
makes a
back to
recommendation
you,
back to the Board of
and that
Works.
it's the lowest responsive and responsible quoter.
Okay.
Because there's something in here I thought I saw where you can, where is it? Maybe that was just on 150. Yeah. See, over 150, that's when you have to do the bid process. And in addition to it being sealed bids, they have to provide financial statements, statement of experience, proposed plan, equipment. They have to sign a non-collusion affidavit, and they have to provide a bid bond or something comparable. Okay?
10% of the bid.
Up to 10%. Yeah. So that would only apply if it's a project over 150,000.
Over 150.
between 50 and 150, it's sealed quotes that you've invited from at least 3 people that do that work or provide that equipment. And then those have to be open, read, publicly at a meeting. You can then take them under advisement, have Jeremy review it. He can come back and say, you know, this guy has the wherewithal to provide this equipment. He meets all the requirements based on the plans and specifications. I recommend that this person be accepted as the lowest responsive and responsible quoter.
Okay.
Okay?
So on our ordinance, we can make a recommendation that we take this to the
State maximum.
state's maximum requirements.
Yep.
And with the opportunity for you and Jeremy to go through the contract prior to next 2 weeks or whatever, Board of Works meeting.
Yeah, I think in 2 weeks from now, I'll actually...
You can do that?
Not quite
I
2
think
weeks
that's
from
great.
now.
Do you think that's that's what I'd like to see?
Who typed this up? Do you know?
Well, that was...
That came from
you
Bluffton.
guys.
Bluffton, actually.
Well,
We copied
this
it.
is, I know, but I think we...
I believe Melissa did that whenever Melissa was working with you.
No,
No.
Melissa wasn't here in 2013.
No, Melissa in my office.
Okay, different Melissa.
Okay, so you think this is on our computer
You should still
somewhere?
have it on your computer.
I think John Schultz did it, actually.
Did he?
Yeah, he copied it from
Bluffton.
Bluffton.
Okay, yeah, it might have.
Yeah, Bluffton has the exact same thing.
Would Sharon have done this?
I think John did it.
He physically typed this up?
I think he
Nah, not John.
Bluffton sent him theirs, and he just copied it.
They did.
Well, I understand, but
He took it over to Sharon, and then Sharon changed...
we changed this, so that's what I'm asking, who made the changes for us?
I remember one of those.
I can look and see if it's on mine, Tim.
Okay.
I may have done it.
I mean, I'll look too, I've got it,
And I
and I'll
can ask
let everyone
Sharon.
know, but I don't want to have to retype this if we
Yeah.
got it in somebody's computer.
So, obviously changes to ordinance respect actually makes sense, but is this all kind of based on the wall issue?
Just
Yeah, well, I was going to come back to that.
Okay.
I was going to come back to that.
There's a little line in here that says, the Board of Public Works and Safety may waive any of the above requirements under special circumstances.
That's what Jeremy was alluding to, where it's an emergency situation, or you have a...
Or there's only one
or
person
you
that
have
can do it.
You have computer software equipment that you've already got in place and you want to add to it, but it doesn't make sense to have a totally different kind of computer software that's not compatible with this one. Those are special circumstances. You know, but I think what we would want to do is probably modify that language and maybe take it out here and put it in the ordinance that says, under these circumstances, you know, you have the flexibility to do things a little differently because the state statute allows it.
You're saying the state defines what special circumstances?
Jeremy just read where there are certain instances where you have a little more flexibility. So
That's
And
great.
Cam, a
But
lot
coming-
of this is just the market, and, you know, we haven't changed it for, since the creation,
Why would they have
it was maxed out at the creation of the ordinance. Now the state's coming
because
off of that to
we
get
don't
money flowing,
govern their purchases. That
to
doesn't
get
come
things
before the
going, and
Board
they're
of
coming
Works.
up off of
They're
it,
separate
and
body,
we've never moved.
separately funded.
Well, we see the market increases
And they're considered the
annually.
purchasing agent
And it's very
for
hard right now to get much
the
accomplished
Parks
in that
Department
$50,000
rather
range
than the
without
Board of
putting
Works.
out per bid.
Okay.
So,
So now reeling this back into the wall.
I mean, we can, if you
You
want
know,
to,
I asked Jeremy today, I said, if on this wall, you were thinking 50,000 plus, that was
I think
going through the bid
when we looked at
process.
that, Craig, I think there was a
I
reason
said,
that
how
we
much,
did that,
I mean, do you
because
really
of the
think that
way
we can
their
get it done for
budgets are
under
set up.
50,000 if we
Because it's a joint
just do it by
board
quotes?
that involves
And he
the
said,
county.
yes, he does.
It's a good
Now-
possibility.
Good possibility. Now, I also told Jeremy that I've been thinking about that wall a lot, and
I'll look into that.
the condition of that entire building and the stability of the owner of that building right now.
I mean,
Whose wall is that?
Maybe we just
Okay.
say,
If we put $50,000 in that wall, and the place changes hands, something happens, whatever,
Would be subject.
What happens with our wall?
Requirements and approved, and subject to approval by Park Board and Council.
do we really want to put that much money into that wall?
I'm just thinking to verify that.
I know that brick or block would probably look
Well, I
the
understand.
nicest,
But, I understand,
but if we
these things are...
put steel siding on there,
Purchasing each
I mean, is what we were talking about doing,
So...
having
do
a
that,
mural on there,
purchase-
was the mural going to be painted on the surface, or was it going to be put on something and then hung up there? If it's going to be hung up there and cover up the wall, I don't see why it would matter if it's block or metal or what.
Well, I don't know, John may correct me if I'm wrong on this. I don't think that wall is sturdy enough to hang that from it, is it, Don?
It has to be looked at, but I think it's sturdy enough to probably should be.
You'd have to fur it out somehow, or something.
It's the wall of the other buildings that's flat. And it's a precast building butted up to that building that we tore down. Originally, the building we tore down stood alone, and they added precast up against it.
So the brick we're seeing is from the old building?
Right.
Yeah, from the building that you tore down.
So is it structurally sound? Not like it was designed. The sides aren't there to hold it. Wasn't made to stand alone like it is right now. So I don't, you'd have to have an engineer all that.
And can we take the rest of that brick down?
You'll expose to the building.
Okay.
It's a shared wall.
If it,
So it's just, we take that brick down, once that brick up, it's got a concrete.
what is it?
It's stairwall's concrete.
It's just what I said, it's more, or,
Brick.
it's brick with.
It's probably got mortar or something.
So it's probably actually interior brick too, to do. It's not exterior brick
Right.
because they just set it in there.
Just soft.
Put a wall in
It's
there.
real soft.
See, you have the common walls in these downtown buildings for ventilation and for fire purposes. So what you're seeing is your wall from the building that we tore
The
down.
wall, yeah, it's
So what they do is when they put brick or block up is they dig a footer or a footer and then start tying into the existing as they start laying the brick or the block up. That way it pulls everything together and it keeps everything tight. Now your thought or your theory about furring it out, putting metal and stuff on there, you're really not tying all those walls back together.
Don't get me wrong, I say put vinyl siding on it, really. I'm not trying to be the very bad.
So long.
But you kind of agree with the fact that, if we're going to,
I'd hate for someone to hang some nut or hang metal on that, and then all of a sudden that thing starts creeping, and then we're gonna tear all that metal back down, and
Yeah.
then we gotta put block up.
You're
So
gonna
we just
get
whatever.
this. It's gonna move.
There's
And
nothing keeping
See,
that wall.
That's brick, that's that inside wall that's got mortar on the inside or plastic.
See, they couldn't finish the outside of the mortar because they couldn't see it.
right,
They just set it from inside.
right, because it was right up against this building.
I don't understand why our philosophy is any different with this wall versus that wall. We own that wall. If Becky Cochran is gone tomorrow, we don't know who owns that. Back then, of course, but we know what we look at. Anything over here, if that business is defunct, that building is still there. Somebody's...
If that building's defunct and it goes to a certain party, that building's going to come down. Then our wall
we
comes
don't
with
know
it.
that it will go to that party.
I know.
Well,
He'd love it to go to him.
Who would?
Corey Apple.
it doesn't go down until we consent to it. It's a common wall.
Right.
Well, when we put that brick wall up, that
When you bought that building, you bought that wall.
You bought that wall.
Right, right.
Okay, but if somebody buys that other building and they want to tear that other building down, that wall can't stand by itself.
No, but they can't tear the building down until we consent to it. Because they're destroying our wall.
Okay?
And that would be one expensive building to tear down. Being that's precast.
No, Corey Apple would love that building to be gone and be a parking, if we spend the money. He doesn't want to spend any money on that. He doesn't want to buy this building for any money. and tear it down himself and make a parking. He wants the city to do it. He's the one that bought a theater in a block with no parking. And they bought a building with no parking. That's why they bought it for the inexpensive price. I'm just purely looking at it from aesthetics. We got a great looking mall. Why wouldn't we have another great looking mall right in the middle of all this development?
If you can get it done for under 50, even if you put metal up, I mean, I realize it'd be cheaper, but I think you're buying liability.
And do remember that that is the first thing people see as they're coming from the east.
Are we going to cover it up, though, with some kind of a attached mural?
But are we? I mean, I think, yes, ideally we would, but
Would we?
there's no, unless somebody's come up with a plan that says I have this already ready to go.
It is also a prime spot for a nice electronic sign as well that capitalizes on our activities and advertising and things such that that goes on in Decatur.
So your concern is not so much the structure itself, stability of the structure. Your concern is if somebody else buys it and wants to tear it down. I get it. Are we concerned about the actual structure on the other side falling apart?
No, I don't believe so.
It's pretty bad.
It's sound.
It's pretty gas.
That building
The
was
roof's not going to rot, floors aren't going to rot, it's all pretty gas.
It's probably one of your stronger buildings.
So the only way it would come down is if somebody wanted the parking lot.
Somebody with a big wrecking ball.
That they go down there, they would have to tear it down, and if they're going to have this expensive building, $50,000 wall over there from the next building, in the same situation.
No, the next building's an alley.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a wall.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, if it comes to that issue, we have to consent to it, we can recoup our costs. Right?
It's a common wall, we own that wall.
The only way a parking lot's going there is if that wall comes down.
Now, Tim, you say it's a common wall. In theory, can he pick the brick, or somebody could pick the bricks off the other side and just leave our scanner?
No, because then that jeopardizes the structural integrity of our wall.
Of our wall?
Yeah.
It's not any different than what you did over here, though.
Right.
You don't own, I mean, that's common wall there, then you share. Somebody else owns the building, your wall gets.
But nobody's expressed interest in buying that building to tear it down for a parking lot.
Not yet.
And I think I don't think that's a real concern.
Okay, so first thing we have to do is we have to get our ordinance changed. We can't put this out for quote until after we have this done.
I guess my question, the reason I brought this up is why not? You have a caveat here that says you're allowed to do so in special circumstances. Are circumstances really defined by the state, or
That's the circumstances. Do you want to read those circumstances again, Jeremy?
Well, you guys waived the process upstairs already
And can you
for
say,
the heating and ventilation.
can a circumstance be aesthetic?
So you can
And then, but the
waive-
circumstance was because Felgerhart,
Yeah.
they did work for us before. We wanted to keep it the same.
Right, that's a special
It was
circumstance.
a special circumstance. What's the special circumstance we're going?
circumstances that we can get local bidders and get it less than $6,000.
And it's the cost savings to the municipality, which it says in here.
Yeah, but, okay, I'm not sure I understand though, because all we have to do is amend the ordinance
True.
and then just follow the ordinance.
Well, I'm saying you could probably amend the ordinance, because we don't know what we want to do with that wall yet.
No, but we talked a couple weeks ago about Phyllis advertising to get bids, and we've held her off of doing that. And do we want to wait another 2 weeks?
Not officially.
Not officially, because I was waiting to see how this meeting went until I talked to her about it.
Can you not make a special circumstance aesthetics and say, Brent Arnold, I want you to quote another wall like you built here. We want one that looks like it here.
Well, is that the decision that you're gonna, that's what you're putting up?
Well, I think you're right. Amend the ordinance, proceed with that.
There's no way you're gonna get it done.
You're not getting it done in the next month, so.
Well, I don't want to get the bid out yet either. I would really like to amend this ordinance, my personal
I
self.
think that should be the focus.
Amend the ordinance to where we have more freedom and better economics for our taxpayers, where we have the freedom up to the maximum that the state allows.
But when you, and you're not in a position to do the quotes yet, because you have to decide what are you gonna put up?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I said,
You kinda have to
do that, but you still have to decide what
Yeah,
to do.
because
If it's brick, you have the specs, right?
if you're gonna use the quotes, you still have to develop plans and specifications that are sent to the quoters, and they're to submit their quote based on those requirements.
Yeah, even if we,
We already did that. We're ready to put it out for bid.
Right.
If it goes brick. That's what I sent you last week.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Like, he's saying if we want to do something else,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that decision has been made.
because then we're gonna have bids come in for brick, and we sit here and argue.
On the, you don't think that decision's been made for the brick?
That's what we made the last,
That's what you guys told me a month ago when you told me to get it out for
Okay,
bid.
but what kind of brick is, is it cinder, is it rock?
No, it's brick.
It's
It's made
red
of
brick.
mason
Okay,
brick.
well, I didn't understand that. I thought you were talking two different types of brick.
No, we
Okay.
already got similar quotes, and it would be just as expensive because they have to seal it and seal it every so often.
Right, I remember that.
About a month ago, we had that same,
So we agree on,
same conversation.
we agreed on a brick wall
Okay.
at the time, and that's why.
and you got the specifications ready to go for the bid process.
Yeah, it's already been sent out to one contractor, which I can repeat.
Do you foresee us getting more than one
That's
quote?
where it works. You just have to see, you gotta solicit it. Yep, just go ahead.
Is it
Get
okay?
our ordinance changed.
If you don't mind, I'd like to make a motion that we change our ordinance with the assistance between Jeremy and Tim Baker to reflect more on 2019's state requirements for bidding up to
With the
$149,999
necessary verbiage.
with the proper verbiage that we would like to have and brought back to Board of Works in 2 weeks for approval.
And second that, yeah.
Heard it.
Let's keep going, yeah.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Okay, Jeremy? Yeah, we've already discussed the brick wall, and now we
Okay,
get...
so, am I holding off on this bid?
Yes.
I would.
Is that okay, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Holding off on the bids until we can get the ordinance done, and then we'll put it up for quote. Sealed quotes.
Did you make him mad? You ran out of the room.
Don't go away mad, Jeremy.
I think he's a little frustrated.
I don't blame him. No, I think he's happy right now.
That's what I was trying, all I was saying was like, if we can help them out by using a special circumstances while the thing was being amended.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. But I think you're right, we're still maybe at the point of,
And you're looking at the weather. It's not the conditions right now, though. Put brick up.
Yeah, unless we're gonna pay to heat,
Yep.
tarp, and all that kind of jazz.
Exactly. We don't need that.
Yeah.
Phyllis, did you have anything else for the Board of Works? Can you do, right?
April, they can do it.
I'm in Whaley. I'm not going to that.
I sent in today that we don't have, is this for the $1,000 grant?
Yeah.
That we received?
We're
I
not going
sent
on
in
it.
today because she asked for me to reply by January 2nd.
You said no?
I said, thank you, please mail it to Main Street. We didn't have anybody to make it.
Okay.
I already checked with Lyle.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't check with you.
Thank you.
but
Yeah, but I'm not going either.
It'll cost us a lot of money in parking and time and all that kind of stuff.
Go ahead, Tim.
Okay. Kevin had sent me this asset management software agreement, and asked me to review it. I did, but there's 3 or 4 forms that are either referenced that I don't have access to, or are to be attached that I don't have access to. So, if you're okay, apparently this is something that needs to be done fairly soon. But it's a licensing agreement for use of MC software, and I don't even know what the price is. I think Kevin said that the license cost was somewhere around $25,000, Well, I don't know that that's been firmed up. And then there's ongoing maintenance fees on an annual basis. But this is what they're going to use to, so that you're going to store all of the information about our infrastructure in the city.
Plan all the motors, all the maintenance.
Right. So it's developing a database of what we have so that we know what we need to maintain or replace.
Is this with American Structure Point, or is this a whole other something that we already, are we
The
doing?
program through several different departments, so the new water plant will be on it eventually.
So is this different than what American Structure Point's doing?
That's part of it, that's what,
I think-
It's all part of it that we've already
that's
approved.
what they came up with. this
Oh.
program.
Right. But, I need to see more, I need to get together with Kevin and get more of the documents that are attached or incorporated by reference, so I don't know what those say.
His wife had to work tonight, so he didn't have anybody watching the kids, so I let him stay
Okay.
home tonight.
So I'll get together with Kevin on that, but I just want to alert you that that's going to be coming up before you.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Nope.
I didn't have anything else.
What about
works?
Lenny Corral?
What about him?
You called him up earlier, but he just came in a little bit ago.
No, he was already up here.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you want to introduce somebody?
That's at the council meeting.
Oh, my sorry.
Resource officer.
Well, that was it,
Sure.
SRO?
Yeah, that was the SRO thing that we brought up.
Okay, my part.
We got motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All right. All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.